This is the final video in the series of videos about Word 2013 Unit B, and we're going to be on pages Word 40 and 41 out of the textbook, which is going to be entitled Work with Document Properties. Now, before you distribute a document electronically to people outside your organization, it's wise to make sure that the file does not include embedded private or confidential information. The info screen in the Backstage view includes tools for stripping a document of sensitive information, and for securing its authenticity, and for guarding it from unwanted changes once it has been distributed to the public. One of these tools, the Document Inspector, detects and removes unwanted private or confidential information from a document. So our first step that we want to do is, on step 1, we want to press on Control Home to get to the top of the document on there. So your cursor should be at the very top left of the document. And then we're going to click on the File tab. Now, in this, once again, the Backstage view will open up with the info screen displayed. Now, the left side of the info screen includes options related to the stripping the file of private information. The right side of the info screen displays basic information about the document. Now, notice that the file contains document properties. You want to remove these before you distribute this press release to the public. Now, of course, to create or modify document properties for a file, you type in the Document Properties panel text boxes. So we see, once again, over here, this is our document properties. It is very important that is on there that we take a look and make sure that these are removed before distributing this to the public, because then you can see that on here we have the original author and who is last modified by, as well as some other information. So, and a lot of those things you generally would like to have removed before you give this to the public. Now, if you're using this for your private use, you can go ahead and leave the document properties as is. Now, step 2 tells us that we want to click on the Properties button on the right side of the info screen. Here's the Properties button here at the top. And when we click on that, we then want to go and click on Show Document Panel, and that's the top option here. So when we click on that, we go back to the document, and the Document Properties panel is opening up. And it's going to open up above the document window. Now, this shows the standard document properties for the press release. Now, when we talk about document properties, we're talking about user-defined details about a file that describes its contents and its origin, which actually does include the name of the author, the title of the document, and keywords that you can assign to help organize and search your files. Now, you decide to remove this information from the file before you distribute it electronically, and like I said, that's just for security reasons on there. Step 3 tells us that we're going to go back and we're going to click on the File tab. So now that we've seen the document properties, we're going to go back into our File tab, and this will open up our info back here on the Backstage view. And then we're going to click on Check for Issues button that's on here, and that's what we call the Inspect Document, which was formerly known as the Document Inspector. So when we click on this, we have 3 different options. You see that we have Inspect Document, Check Accessibility, and Check Compatibility. And those are generally some things that you want to do, especially if you're going to distribute this out to the public. And then what we're going to do is we're going to click on this top option of Inspect Document. Now, when this pops up, you see that these are going to be all the different things that is going to be inspected: comments, revisions, versions and annotations, properties and personal information, task pane apps, collapsed headings, and there's a lot of other things that's on here as well. And it gives you a brief description on what each one of these are. And of course, once we have that, we want to make sure that and this is step 4, we want to make sure that all the checkboxes are selected, because this is what we call the Document Inspector dialog box, and you use this box to indicate which private or identifying information you want to search for and remove from your document. Now, after we have all these selected, and we make sure that all of them is selected, we want to click on the word Inspect. So we want to click on this Inspect button down here on the bottom. Now, of course, after a moment or two, the Document Inspector dialog box indicates that the file contains document properties. And so we see that on here that anything with a little check mark on there tells us there were no items that was found. However, down here we see that there was some document properties and personal information, as well as some custom XML data that's on there as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to, first of all, on step 5, tells us that we want to click on Remove All next to the Document Properties and Personal Information. So we are going to click on Remove All here. And when we do that, you notice that the exclamation mark turns into a check mark. And of course now the standard document property information has been removed from this document. Next on there, we're going to click on the close. We will leave the custom XML data if that is present on your computer on there. We're just going to go ahead and click close to close the document inspector. Now, of course, a document property, such as an author name, might appear automatically in a content control document. Now, stripping a file of document properties does not remove information from a content control. So if you put your name in as in a input field, as we've seen in the first unit, it's not going to remove that from that. It's only going to excuse me, it's only going to remove this from the document properties. Step 6 tells us that we want to click the Properties button on the info screen. So we're going to go back over here to the Properties, and we're going to click back on Show Document Panel. Now the Document Properties panel is going to open up, and it's going to show the document properties have been removed from the file. So you notice that earlier we had author, title, and those type things. Now all of those are gone. Step 7 tells us that we want to click on the Close button, and that is right up here on the Document Properties panel. So we're not closing out the full document, we're just closing out the Document Properties panel. Once we have that, we want to click on our Save button up here, and that's going to save the document. And then you're going to take this file, and this time you're only going to have one file, and you're going to upload this file to the course sites. So you want to make sure you take a look at this, make sure that your links work, and make sure that everything is as it appears both on page 41 out of the textbook as well as what you've seen on this video. Now, of course, you can view and modify advanced document properties, because what we did was we removed the basic document properties. And of course, the Document Properties panel, which we just closed out a second ago, includes summary information about the document that you enter to suit your needs. Now, to view more detailed document properties, including those entered automatically by Word when the document is created, you can click on the Document Properties button in the Document Properties panel. So if we reopen this back up, on here, we notice that here's the Document Properties button. And if we click on this, we can click on Advanced Properties. And this will show us some of the advanced properties that's on there using the Advanced Properties dialog box. Now you can also click the Properties button on the info screen and then click the Advanced Properties to open up the Properties dialog box. Now the General, Statistics, and Contents tabs of the Properties dialog box displays information about the file that is automatically created and updated by Word. The General tab, which as you see right now, shows the file type, location, size, and date and time the file was created and when it was last modified. The Statistics tab, which we see right over here, is going to show us the information about revisions to the document along with the number of pages, words, lines, paragraphs, and characters in the file. And of course the Content tab over here shows the title of the document. Of course, we can also take a look at the other tabs that we didn't look at earlier, which we have the Summary, which we did remove earlier, and of course we can also add in some custom information as well. And that is where you can define other document properties using the Summary and Custom tabs. Now the Summary tab, which we were taking a look at here, which we did remove, is information that is similar to the information shown in the Document Properties panel. Now the Custom tab here allows you to create new document properties such as client, project, or date completed. To create a custom property, select the property name and the name list on the Custom tab, which we have right here, or you can just choose your own on there. And then you go through and you're going to type in the identifying information as well on there. And of course, like I said, you can use the list arrow to select the type of data you want for the property, the type of identifying details such as the project name on there in the value text box, and then ultimately you can click on the add when you make that change to add that document property. Now when you're finished viewing or modifying the document properties, you're going to always click on OK to close the Properties dialog box. on there, and then you can click on the close button on the document properties panel to close down the document properties. And that concludes the video series for Word 2013 Unit B. On there, you are ready to start working on the assignment, so make sure that you do upload your completed file into CourseSites, and you are ready to work on to the next sections in which you're going to be completing the assignments for this chapter.